I feel like I'm always working on projects. Whether it's fixing things up in the house, working on cars, building an overland trailer, or even just typical vehicle maintenance, you name it, I always seem to have some sort of list of things that I'm doing. Behind me I have my 1976 Ford F250 Ranger. This was actually my very first car when I turned 16. My grandpa bought this truck brand new in 1976, and when he passed, my dad got it from him. And then when my dad passed away when I was young, my mom held on to the vehicle. And this truck, I remember in my childhood, it sat in our backyard for over 14 years. It didn't get run, it didn't get driven, it sat there. I remember in my childhood always having this truck in the backyard. My mom surprised me when I turned 16 and had a family friend of ours start working on this truck. So they towed it out, got it working, believe it or not. All he had to do was change out some of the fuel lines, new battery, just a few new components, and the thing actually started up. So I've had this vehicle since I turned 16. I've always had projects that I'm doing, and this is always kind of on the back burner. This truck has always been there, something that I'm working on, but never really putting it towards the front, never prioritizing it in my projects. You know, over the past year, we've been slowly getting rid of some of the other excess things in our lives, dwindling down. We don't need as many cars as we had. And so now I actually have the time and the energy to focus on the truck. Every time I drive this truck, I ask myself, why don't I drive this truck more? It's definitely not a sports car or anything modern, but you know what? There's just something to it driving it that feels so simple, and I enjoy it. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few things that this truck really needs. This rubber piece here seems to be falling off. The truck bed could definitely benefit from being repainted and has some rust coming through. Some of the interior could use a little bit of TLC, some touch-up. The fuel gauge doesn't work, so I never actually know how much gas I have. This hood latch, which worked good today, could definitely be redone. You can tell that someone has welded it in the past several times. So everything in here is running. The truck runs pretty well. Got the carburetor that I rebuilt a few years ago. The power steering pump definitely needs to be replaced. This came with air conditioning and AC, which doesn't work. I believe the oil pan is dripping and probably needs a new seal. The blinkers don't work. The bumper is an extended bumper to where I don't even need to put the tailgate down and I can sit on it comfortably. I think my dad or grandpa had some sort of truck bed shell on it that needed the extended bumper, but I don't. The passenger window doesn't go down very easy. The muffler fell off a few months ago and I ran over it, so it's very loud. And the list of things goes on, I'm sure. I bet there's a number of things that I would like to do to get this truck in its running condition that I want. And so I asked myself, where do I start? And there's really two main things that prevent me from driving this truck on a regular basis like I wish I did. And the first one is the fact that this came with power steering and doesn't have any makes it feel like I'm wrestling a small bear every time I take it out. Number two is that it's loud. If you didn't catch that from the intro of this video, I wish that I could hear the person that I'm sitting in the cab with a little easier. So join with me over the next couple of weeks while I slowly try to make this truck a better driving and more livable truck. So tune in as we start with power steering coming next.